Hey, I'm going to do John chapter 6 and chapter 7. My goal was to have this done by March of 2023. I've been working on it for about 2 months. So John chapter 6. After this, Jesus went to the other side of the Sea of Galilee, which is the Sea of Tiberias. A large crowd was following him because they saw the signs that he was doing on the sick. Jesus went up on the mountain. There he sat down with his disciples. Now, the Jewish feast of Passover was at hand. Lifting up his eyes then and seeing a large crowd coming toward them, Jesus said to Philip, "Where are we to buy bread that these people may eat?" Now, he said this to test him, because he himself knew what he was going to do. Philip said, 200 denarii worth of bread would not be enough for each of them to have a little. Then one of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, said to him, "There's a boy here with 5 barley loaves and 2 fish, but what are they for so many?" And Jesus said, "Have the people sit down." Now there was much grass in that place, and so the men sat down, numbering about 5,000. Jesus then took the loaves, and when he had given thanks, he distributed them to those who were seated, and also the 2 fish, as much as they wanted. And when they had eaten their fill, he said to his disciples, "Now gather up the leftover fragments there, so that nothing may be lost." And so they gathered them up and filled 12 baskets of fragments from the 5 barley loaves left by those who had eaten. Now when the people saw the sign that he did, they said, "This indeed is the prophet who is to come into the world." Jesus, perceiving that they were about to come and take him by force and make him king, withdrew again by himself to the mountain. Now in the evening, his disciples went down to the sea, got into a boat, and started across the sea to Capernaum. It was now dark, and Jesus had not yet come to them. Now the sea became rough because a strong wind was blowing. And when they had rowed 3 or 4 miles, they saw Jesus walking on the sea and coming near the boat, and they were frightened. And Jesus said to them, "It is I, do not be afraid." And then immediately they were glad to take him up into the boat. Immediately the boat was at the land to which they were going. On the next day, the crowd that had remained on the other side of the sea saw that there had only been one boat, and that Jesus had not entered the boat with his disciples, but that his disciples had gone away alone. Now other boats from Tiberias also came near the place where they had eaten the bread after the Lord had given thanks. So when the crowd saw that Jesus was not there, nor his disciples, then they themselves got into the boats and went to Capernaum seeking Jesus. Now when they found him on the other side of the sea, they said to him, "Rabbi, when did you come here?" Jesus said to them, "Truly, truly, I say to you, you are seeking me not because you saw the signs, but because you ate your fill of the loaves. Do not work for the food that perishes, but for the food that endures to eternal life, which the Son of Man will give you. For on him God the Father has set his seal." They said to him, "What must we do to be doing the works of God?" Jesus said, "This is the work of God, that you believe in him whom he has sent." And they said to him, "Then what sign do you do that we might see and believe? What work do you perform? Our fathers ate manna in the wilderness. As it is written, he gave them bread from heaven to eat." Well, Jesus said, "Truly, truly, I say to you, it was not Moses who gave you the bread from heaven, but my Father gives you the true bread from heaven. For the bread of God is he that comes down from heaven and gives life to the world. And he said to him, Sir, give us this bread always. Jesus said, I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me shall not hunger. Whoever believes in me shall never thirst. But I said this to you, that you have seen me and yet do not believe. For all that the Father has given me will come to me, and whoever comes to me I will never cast out. For I have come down from heaven not to do my own will, but to do the will of him who sent me. This is the will of him who sent me, that of all that he has given me I should lose nothing, but raise it up on the last day. For this is the will of my Father, that whoever looks on the Son and believes in him should have eternal life, and I will raise him up on the last day. The Jews therefore grumbled among themselves because he said, I am the bread that came down from heaven. And they said, Is this not Jesus, the son of Joseph, whose father and mother we know? How does he now say, I have come down from heaven? And Jesus said, Do not grumble about these things among yourselves, for no one can come to me unless the Father who sent me draws him. And I will raise him up on the last days. For it is written in the prophets, and they will all be taught by God. Everyone who has heard and has learned from the Father comes to me. Not that anyone has seen the Father, except he who is from God. He has seen the Father. Truly, truly, I say to you, whoever believes in me has eternal life. I am the bread of life. Your fathers ate manna in the wilderness, and they died. This is the bread that comes down from heaven, that one may eat of it and not die. I am the living bread that has come down from heaven. Whoever eats of this bread will live forever, and the bread that I will give for the life of the world is my flesh. The Jews therefore disputed among themselves, because saying, How can this man give us his flesh to eat? Jesus said, Truly, truly, I say to you, unless you eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, you have no life in you. For whoever feeds on my flesh and drinks my blood has eternal life, and I will raise him up on the last day. For my flesh is true food, and my blood is true drink. Whoever feeds on my flesh and drinks my blood abides in me, and I in him. For as the living Father has sent me, and so I live because of the Father, so whoever feeds on me, he also will live because of me. This is the bread that has come down from heaven, not like the bread the fathers ate and died. This, whoever feeds on this bread will live forever. Now Jesus said these things in the synagogue as he taught at Capernaum. When many of his disciples heard this, they said, This is a hard saying. Who can listen to it? And Jesus, knowing in himself that his disciples grumbled about this, said to them, Do you take offense at this? Then what if you see the Son of Man ascending to where he was before? It is the Spirit that gives life. The flesh is of no help at all. The words that I have spoken to you are spirit and life. But there are some of you who do not believe. See, for Jesus knew from the beginning who it was that would not believe him and who it was that would betray him. And he said to them, This is why I said to you that no one can come to me unless it is granted him by the Father. Now after this, many of his disciples turned back and no longer walked with him. Jesus turned to the 12 and said, Do you want to go away as well? And Simon Peter said to him, Lord, to whom shall we go? You have the words of eternal life. We have believed and have come to know that you are the Holy One of God. And Jesus said, Have I not chosen you, the 12? Yet one of you is a devil. He spoke this of Judas, the son of Simon Iscariot, for he, one of the 12, was going to betray Jesus.